Hello YouTube, I'm back this week to talk to you about the Aqua and Origin combo from Tobeco. So let's do this. Okay, so here we are up close and personal with the Aqua cloned by Tobeco. As you can see, it comes in a nice box with a little flip front lid. Comes with all your usual goodies. Got some spare O-rings. A few pre-built wicks. I would imagine those are pretty high ohm. And your little blue screwdriver, but most importantly, we have this little guy right here. And that is in case you ever decide you would like to hybrid your Atomizer with an Origin mod. But we'll get into that in a minute. So let's see if I can get this open. So the actual Atomizer itself, it looks very nice. The machining is nice on it. I'm rather impressed. I did see somewhere that somebody posted that with these devices there's really not a lot of room for error if you're buying a clone, and I've been using this for 2 months and I've seen nothing that I would say is really all that bad about it. It's pretty well built. So to take it down into pieces to show you basically what it's all about, there's a drip tip. Let's zoom in a bit here. And then you have this top cap that unscrews. And you need to be careful when you unscrew this top cap because it has a bad habit of bringing your, I don't know what you want to call it, the chamber for where you're going to put your coils comes with it. Then you have, oh come on. This piece, by the way, is the piece you're going to take off if you would like to hybrid this on the Origin mod. Anyhow, here's your tank section, which unscrews. And then you have this, the piece that came off with the top cap, and that screws on kind of similar to a K-Fun chimney. So then this piece comes off, and then you got your 2 connection posts, and you've got these 2 little air holes. And this is what your coils are going to go under, or over top of, sorry. And those air holes come out the bottom, right there. So that way, when your tank is on, oh, forgive me, try not to cross thread this thing. When your tank is on, how far you screw it down is how much airflow you get. But while we're in this up close little segment here, the one thing I will say I've noticed is when you have this unscrewed all the way so it's wide open, this here is your juice control. And if you open it up a bit, you can hear that. And when you have it all assembled, if you give it a little shake, you can hear stuff rattling, and it's just loose. That is one con. It hasn't affected the performance in any way that I've experienced. It's just something you notice, and yeah. Hopefully the real device doesn't have that same problem, because I'd be sorely disappointed. Anyhow, this is your connection pin for if you're going to just use it as a normal atomizer on a different mod. It is adjustable. You can run it right out to make a connection. Where are we here? However, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to use it in hybrid mode. I don't think I've ever used this thing in any other way than that. So you take the pin right out, it just unscrews. You're going to get your little hybrid pin here. And again, it is adjustable. But I find if you use a nipple top battery, between this pin and the adjustment for your switch throw, you can pretty much have everything snugged right down and it works perfect. So before we build this, to any of you who don't know what hybrid means, if you were using this top cap here, there's your 510 connection, and it would screw on just like that, which the device would screw into, like so. However, excuse me, to use this in hybrid mode, you can take that off. You can also take off the entire top cap of your mod. And then this screws right in like so. And that hybrid pin you put on makes direct contact with your battery. Now as for, set this aside, the Origin mod, I must say, it is a sexy looking little mod, but it's very light, I find. I don't know if the real one is or not. It is extremely light. It feels almost like a toy compared to my other ones. But anyhow, it comes with your top cap. And this here, let's see if I can get this, is your airflow control. So you just unscrew this, and there's a little hole. I don't think you'll be able to see it in there. Which comes out right there and goes through the slots. So that gives you your airflow control for the bottom drawing devices that draw air through the 510. You have your, wait, let's get this straight, 18350 tube, 18650, $18,500. Can go either way. Or I've never tried it, but I'm going to assume that that will accommodate an 18650 with a kick. So to get down into the switch, the switch on this device, I found it tricky until I got to know it. It's there's your locking ring right there, very thin, maybe about the size of a quarter in thickness, and it's a good locking ring. I mean, it does the job, but the thing that I found tricky is this right here, because you can turn this And actually, if I take the whole switch out, it'll give you a better idea. You can turn this and it will start to recess further inside of the switch there. And what that's doing is raising the pin. And as you can see there, if you are not careful, it can raise the pin enough right over the Delrin insulator there, or battery protector, whatever you want to call it, and it can auto fire in your pocket. So generally speaking, I like to leave this pretty far out. But yes, if you have any battery rattle, this white piece of Delrin here spins around, and as you spin it, it comes up, and that'll take care of any battery rattle you may have. However, as I said, I find with an 18650 you can have everything snugged right down and it fits perfect. So anyhow, enough about that. Let's go ahead and build this thing. Which, as a note here, just as a side thought, if you use mod stands, it can be a pain in the ass constantly having to put the bottom cap back on this so that you've got your 510 threadings to screw into whatever stand you are using. Actually, I'm going to need the pin too so I can check my resistance. So here's what we're going to start out with. Let me zoom in here. It's kind of like a K-fun. Where are we here? Your wicks sit down. Unlike a K-fun, you tuck your wick right into these channels. And it's got 4 channels, so you got to set up for dual coils. And instead of having a screw, you've got these little, hold on, get my fat fingers out of your way. These little fasteners, I usually snug them down finger tight when I'm done building, and then I'll tighten them down with a pair of pliers or a tweezer, whatever's handy. So anyhow, for this build I'm going to try and go for something a little bit higher. Zoom out a bit here. Sorry, my button is sticking. For this build I'm going to try and go for something a little bit higher. Definitely above 0.5. So we're going to build 2 coils, and I'm going to do 10 wraps of each on one of these skewers, which is slightly bigger than a 20 gauge needle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. Come back and clean up that first one. Okay. There's one. Alright, so we've got our 2 coils here. So, see if I can actually zoom this in now properly. Oh yeah. So now all you do, and I find it works better for me if I go for the inside rather than the outside, is you want to try, where are we here, and get your coil lined up over top of the air hole. And I personally find, because you have to put on a second coil, that when I put these on, I give it a full wrap, not just a quarter of the way around. Get it nice and snug, and that way I can move away and work on the second coil, and that is not in my way, and it's not falling off. So then we're just going to repeat the same process on the other side. Do this backwards here, see if I can give you guys a better view. Okay, so now we can just snug these down finger tight. Sorry about that off-cam business. But anyways, we got these finger tight. So now what you want to do is just kind of position your coils as to where you want them to be. And yes, this is absolutely more finicky than a K-Fun. That looks about good. See if I can, oops, too close. Back that out just a touch. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is remove my skewers and clip my wires. There we go. Now I don't have any needle nose pliers beside me or close to me, so you'll have to forgive me if I use these big honkin' ass vice grips. But this is where I snug down. Right. Sorry, this is where I snug down my contacts. stick this back in for 1 minute because tightening down those top screws has readjusted my coils on me. Okay, let's see what we got. 0.64, not bad at all. I wanted to stay over 5, so I'm happy with that. So now we can take off the 510 connection and put this back into hybrid mode. Alright. As you can see, they're kind of lighting up very unevenly. So what we want to do here is take our tweezers and give them a little squeeze. I'm just looking here. I don't know if you can see it on camera. These two wires are damn close to making a connection, and I didn't think to check that. So we're just gonna get them right the hell away from each other. There we go. So as you can see, they're both glowing uniform and from the inside out, which is always important. And I think we're ready to go ahead and wick this. I've read that this is supposedly a silica based atomizer, but I have never tried silica myself. I usually use cotton. Okay. And again, I forgot the scissors. One sec. Okay, we're back with our scissors. And with this step, you can cut some off. Don't cut off too much. If you end up leaving too much on there, you can go back and cut it off later. So now what I gotta do is throw some juice on here. Help glue these suckers into the channels. And there you go. So as you can see, I've laid down the cotton wick right inside each of the channels. I'll put a little bit more juice on here. And we'll give it a test fire. Oh yeah. Okay, so now we can go back and trim off the leftovers, or extras, whatever you'd like to call it. Okay, so now we take our chamber here. I usually snug it right down to begin with. Oops. Then we're going to put on our tank section. This is important. Screw this all the way down. Where are we? Those air holes. You do not want them visible at all for the filling process. Then you can go ahead and fill up your tank. And I should add, this does have a rather small tank on it. If you're used to a 4 or 5 mil tank, I don't know if I had to guess, this is probably around 3 mils. But anyhow, once you've filled it, and you don't want to go higher than the threads, you're going to screw your top cap on, but only enough so it catches the first threads. Then you're going to turn the whole device upside down. Oops, open your tank section so that there's some air getting in there, and then snug down the top cap. I have noticed when filling this, sometimes you get it perfect, other times not so much. If you don't get it perfect, it's going to gurgle on you a little bit when you first start vaping on it. It goes away after 15 minutes. Also, another plus to this is you can line up your logos. Awesomeness. Okay, let's take it back up and talk about it a bit more and vape on it a little bit. So there it is, folks. Very nice device. Very nice looking device. I'm quite happy with this. When you have it in hybrid mode, it's just wow. What can I say? Everybody rants and raves how awesome it is that you can just twist your drip tip to open and close the juice flow. I find that doesn't really work for me. It is a snug fit, but I find I take it off and I actually have to try and grip that little piece right there. But c'est la vie. Still a nice little mod. Puts out. The juice flow control on it, it does work well, as well as the airflow control. One thing I'm not sure about with the real device, I've never felt one, is the finish on the actual mod. If you listen, it's got these very fine lines in it. I don't know, I kind of like it. It makes it so it's not so much of a fingerprint magnet. But overall, would I buy this? Well, I already bought it, but would I buy this knowing what I know now if I didn't own one? And I absolutely would. This isn't for me an everyday device. Most of my everyday devices take a beating and get scratched and beaten all to hell. This one I bought it and I really enjoyed it, and I don't use it too often just because I want to keep it as nice as I can for as long as I can. But I think, yeah, I'd give this 2 thumbs way up. I mean, what more can I say about it? It's awesome. I bought this from Kelvin at Kemurivapes. If you would like to get a hold of one and you are in Canada, you can get a hold of him at kemurivapes@gmail.com. There will be a email address in the description below. So with that, I'm gonna shut up and stop talking now, and have a good night, and we'll see you next week.